Good evening, everyone. And closed section, public employee appointment. We would go to Superintendent Noguchi for closed session. I'm looking at it here. We took no action in closed section. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 1505th regular board meeting. Translator services. Prior to us coming to order, I'd like to refer anybody who needs translator services to Ms. Paula Valbuena at the podium.
Thank you, President Irvin. Buenas tardes, habla Paula Valbuena. Si necesita servicios de interpretación al español, por favor llame al 1805-324-7680 e ingrese el código de acceso 738-290-45 más la tecla numeral. Este es un número totalmente gratis. Nuevamente, llame al número de teléfono 1805-324-7680 e ingrese el código de acceso 738-290-45 más la tecla numeral. También puede acceder a estas instrucciones en nuestro sitio web en www.mcs4kids.com, dirigiéndose a la parte inferior de la página en Quick Links y haciendo clic en Board Agendas para ir a la agenda de esta noche o si no estar en la parte de atrás para colaborarles. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valbuena. Welcome to the Modesto City Schools regular board meeting of March 4th, 2024. This meeting is now called to order. A report out from closed session. In closed session, the board gave no direction to staff. Roll call. Trustee Brown.
I'm present.
Trustee Daly.
Present.
Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Trustee Marks.
Present.
Trustee Mejia.
Present.
Vice President Maestas.
Present.
President Irvin, I'm here. Let the record reflect we have a quorum. We'd like to stand for a moment of silence. And during that moment of silence, we'd like to recognize Paul Newman, who was a longtime board member and YCCD board member as well with Yosemite Community College District, who passed away February 18th during our moment of silence. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This open session meeting of the Board of Trustees is being live streamed at the direction of the board. The live stream is available on the district's website, and the recordings will be available for viewing the day after the board meeting. Since we have a large crowd, this pertains to our large crowd. We recognize the need. We recognize that we have a lot of people interested in tonight's board meeting. We also are very excited to also have our student pledges and recognitions. Busy night. Thank you all for coming out this evening. For those of you who are viewing this meeting from across the street in our overflow room, we'll be able to accommodate more individuals in our boardroom once the recognition portion of the meeting is complete. Thank you for your patience. Regarding public comment, MCS has provided an opportunity for the public to provide comments. It is outlined on the agenda. The public has been given an opportunity to call in and leave a voicemail, send us a comment via email, or appear in person before the board. Any public comments received via email or voicemail following the posting of the board agenda and prior to noon the day of the board meeting will not be read aloud, but have been transcribed and printed with copies provided to each board member prior to the start of the board meeting and are available to the public. The voice and email public comments will be attached to a future board meeting minutes for approval. This practice will continue until further notice. For members of the public that are interested in commenting in the future, we welcome your comments. Public comment statement, Board Bylaw 9322B. If you wish to address the board during the period for public comment on a subject not on the agenda, you must complete a public presentation request card and submit it to the board president prior to the period for public comment. If you need assistance or translator, for a translator, please indicate so on the request card. Every person who wishes to address the board, fill out a card. You will find the cards in the lobby. You can hand your comment card to Ms. Chambers in the back of the room, back there. Everybody see Ms. Chambers back there? That's where you leave your cards. I also want to remind you, if you wish to make a complaint against a specific district employee, you should follow the district's personnel complaint procedure. Copies of that procedure are available in the lobby, as are agenda copies, which outline the procedures we will observe during the period for public comment. The right to address the board does not exempt the speaker from any potential liability for defamation. If you plan to speak on a topic, please fill out a card now, as no cards will be accepted after the period for public comments has begun. The maximum time for any one speaker. Do we know how many public comment cards we have currently? $16. So in order so everyone can be, their voices heard, we're gonna limit the comment time to 2 minutes per speaker so we can get all the speakers in with a maximum of 1 hour going forward.
30 minutes.
Oh, that's 2 minutes, 30 minutes. My math is off. Don't hold that against me, everybody. 30 minutes per speakers. In the event we have more speakers than our 30-minute allotment allows for, we may decide to shorten the individual speaker time limit or extend the total amount of time for the public comments to accommodate more speakers. This will be decided based on the number of comment cards received. Yes, sir, Trustee Lopez.
I just want to make just so the public knows, if we were to have a translator needed, the person that needs translation will get additional time for the translator.
Yes, so be it. So to repeat that, translation will get additional time so we can translate the comments. That being said, Pledge of Allegiance. We are pleased to welcome 2 students from Burbank Elementary School to lead us in the flag salute tonight. Andrea Gutierrez, first grader. Andrea is an outstanding student with great determination. She is a wonderful friend and a great helper and a very hard worker. She arrives at school with a positive attitude and is always ready to learn. Andrea's favorite thing about school is learning about nature. She is an exemplary role model to her peers. After school, Andrea would like to be a teacher. Yes. Yes. Great teachers. Matthias Gonzalez, TK. Let me hear that again. TK student. Matthias is a daily ray of sunshine the moment he walks on campus. He is an excellent student and is willing to participate in any task. Matthias is naturally curious and wants to be a part of everything happening inside and outside of the classroom. He loves learning and enjoys sharing his knowledge, but his favorite part of school is recess. School, Matthias wants to go to college to also be a teacher. Yes. Yeah. I think this is one for the record books. Have we ever had a TK? No. Do the pledge with us? Okay, Matthias, you are in the record books. Yes. Please stand.
Say it. I'll help you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow, we're starting them early. Oh, yeah, they are. They're stuck under the papers. They are here. Yes, this brings us to our welcome by our Superintendent Noguchi.
Thank you, President Irvin. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and also for tuning in. I see that many people have tuned in from the comforts of their home, so welcome to Modesto City Schools Board meeting. It's great to see so many people coming out and taking their own time so we can hear your voice, because I recognize there's many of you that want to be able to share your thoughts and your opinions on items on the agenda and off the agenda. But before we get to that tonight, I am proud to introduce 3 new principals to MCS, none of which are new to MTS, but they are going for a promotion as principal. First, I'd like to introduce Christopher Harvey, principal of Alberta Martone. Wonderful. Mr. Harvey has been at MCS since 2017 as a vice principal. Before coming to MCS, he worked in Tracy as a teacher for 15 years in both ELA and social science. He currently has been acting as the principal over at Alberta Martone this year with the principal being out. And so because of his very long interview this year, the staff has selected him to be the next principal of Martone on a permanent basis. Congratulations. Next, please join me in welcoming Erica Del Toro. Has served in her role as vice principal at Shackelford for 2 years. Before coming to MCS, she was a first grade teacher in Sylvan and a second grade teacher in Manteca. I have to say it's wonderful to see a primary teacher moving up into the leadership role. We certainly are going to learn a lot from her and welcome her to the leadership team. Welcome, Erica. Certainly not least, please join me in welcoming Elias Pugh, principal for Elliott Continuation High School. Mr. Pugh is a Downey graduate and later taught math at Downey. He currently is a vice principal at Johansen. While at Johansen, he has also been an MTSS instructional coach. In his interview, it was very clear that Eli has a passion for serving students and really wanted to serve the students both at Johansen and at Elliott. It was clear with his deep instructional knowledge and his passion for the students that he was the right fit to be the next principal at Elliott. So welcome. I want to thank each of you for your willingness to continue your role as a leader here in Modesto City Schools. Your leadership is essential for creating the right conditions, not only for our students, but for our staff, our parents, and our community. You know, you've all heard me say leadership matters, and your leadership is going to matter not only for those that you currently are serving, but also for the city as a whole, because we know that Modesto is a very special place in that many people are born here, they are raised here, they work here, and they stay here. So you are going to have an impact on this community. So thank you for your upcoming service and your past service. I would like to share some great news that really showcases Modesto City Schools is moving in the right direction, finally getting, I used to say, let's get COVID in the rearview mirror, and I think that we are beginning to see signs of that, definitely. First, a big congratulation goes out to the teachers, the staff, the admin, the parents, the community of Grigori High School. Last Friday, California Department of Education announced that Grigori High School was named a California Distinguished Schools. Let's give a round of applause to Grigori. Reaffirms what I already knew about Grigori, that the teachers and the staff and the admin have created the right conditions for that community to be successful and for their students to be successful, and they are truly excelling. So thank you to everyone that is part of the Distinguished Schools Award. It's truly a testament to the hard work and the dedication of everyone that it contributes to that work. Secondly, as you all know, the federal government does monitor schools that receives federal funds. And really coming out of COVID, all of our schools received some form of federal funds. I'm happy to report that 2 weeks ago, we received news that 10 of our schools moved out of targeted assistance from last year to this year. So that is a huge accomplishment for those 10 schools, and we will be showcasing them at an upcoming board meeting. We also had 2 schools move out of the comprehensive support and improvement, so a total of 12 schools moving out of really a planned program of improvement. So that, again, speaks to the hard work of dedication to everyone associated to those individual schools, and we'll get down to which schools those were in an upcoming board presentation. Certainly moving in the right direction. Lastly, as I close, I do want to thank you all for coming out this evening. Hearing your voice is important, and I know the board wants to hear your voice as well. While I recognize that we have differences that we have between us, I also recognize those are far fewer than what the similarities that we have, that the many items that we've agreed upon through this season of working together. We have 2 very strong negotiation teams, and I am confident that we will find a solution with the support of a third party. And I look forward to that resolution. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to President Irvin.
Yes, so next we have our recognitions that will be coordinated by our Chief Communications Officer, Ms. Sharakina Shams.
Thank you, President Irvin. Good evening, Board Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Noguchi, our Cabinet, and our Modesto City Schools family and staff for joining us here tonight. This is our favorite part of the meeting. This is the part where we get to recognize our students and staff for their great work throughout the school year. And tonight we get to recognize a character trait and a character trait honoree. This is a character trait embraced by Modesto City Schools, and the outstanding scholar who's here to demonstrate it tonight is Grigori High School senior Jonathan Castro. The character trait is civility. Jonathan, you can come on up to the front. Here with Jonathan tonight is the person who nominated him, and that's his assistant principal, Sean Evers, and he's joined by Grigori High School principal, Philip Jaramillo. Once all 3 of you come up to the front, you'll tell us a few words about Jonathan, and then we'll get your picture taken.
Perfect. I stand here tonight with pride and gratitude to recognize Jonathan Castro for acting with one of Modesto City Schools' 9 character traits, civility. In a world where busyness often distracts us from the needs of others, he exemplifies the importance of lending a helping hand, especially to those most vulnerable among us. Recently, Jonathan came across an elderly woman near Grigori High School who appeared lost and confused. He directed the woman to a campus supervisor who was able to get her the help she needed to get home. Jonathan's quick thinking, patience, and genuine concern helped guide the lost woman to the comfort and safety of her home. The impact of this simple act of kindness encourages all of us to create a culture of empathy and solidarity. Jonathan, thank you for reminding us of the power of humanity.
Congratulations, Jonathan. Thank you. Irvin, that concludes our recognitions for tonight.
Thank you. That takes us to our period of Board of Education members' report. Do we have any board members who would like to share a report? Got Trustee Brown.
First of all, I want to acknowledge the young pledgers that we had tonight. For that, I wore my tie with the handprints of some of our youngest pledgers. It was exciting. So I have a couple of things I wanted to share. First of all, last week, was it Thursday or Friday? Friday, we had the showing of the film Overcast at Downey High School. And we were invited for a VIP ceremony prior to that. I was thoroughly impressed with the professionalism and the quality of the production that our students came up with. If you're not aware, these students have submitted from our CTE filmmaking and animation classes, have submitted to the highest recognition opportunity for student films in the nation. Students from around the world submit entries, and our students have been recognized as finalists for the past 3 years. This year, our film took the grand prize. Is that our students have the opportunity to have the kind of training that allows them to be placed in some of the best film production programs at colleges and universities throughout the country. And already the companies that produce animation are looking at our kids for future opportunities. So it was just so exciting. And I want to let those students know that they've been invited to show that film at our trustees, Board of Trustees dinner on April 24th. That's where all the trustees from districts throughout the county will be celebrating the accomplishments of what's happening in the county schools. So I'm really pleased to say that our kids will be recognized even locally. The other thing that I want to report is that I attended the seminar this past week for put on by the Stanislaus County School Boards Association, where we got some instruction about how to handle expulsions, and very good information and reminders for us. And I wanted to compliment our students from the Johansson CTE culinary class who prepared the hors d'oeuvres for that evening. And also at that evening, I was able to have a discussion with our board, and I want to notify our student representative that her efforts have been acknowledged in helping to select the singer for the national anthem at that dinner in April as well. So our students will be well represented at that dinner. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Vice President Maestas.
All right, thanks a lot. So I've just got a couple of things to report on. I was able to participate in an audit review with the auditors, and we'll have an audit report today. But there was just more in-depth and really got down to everything that we've done and all of the budget stuff that we had just talked about in our workshop a week, was that a week ago? A week ago. And today, along with, I know that Mayor Suze Wallen was there. We had a chat right beforehand, but we got to participate at Martone on the Read Across America. I guess it's Dr. Seuss Day today, right? And so I read my favorite Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And I got that book when I graduated from college, and just the message itself, that we can do anything we really set our hearts to, even though we know that there will be bumps in the road. I just love the message. And so I got to read it to third grade and fourth grade students today. It was just awesome. I love to be able to go in there and interact with. They even asked me to come back and teach them math. So yeah, I'll come back and teach you fractions. That'll be fun. So I had a great time. Thanks again to Martone for allowing us to come in and be part of this day today. So thank you for that. That's it.
Trustee Marks.
Yes, just a few items to share. I attended the Cesar Chavez Community Celebration that was celebrating Black History Month, and our own Antoinette Chambers was one of the speakers, and she did a fabulous job. She touched all our hearts, is what she said. And many of our students were there at the luncheon too, and I believe Trustee Brown and Superintendent Noguchi were there. So it was a really special event. I was very pleased to be able to attend. And then also I attended the Equity Committee with Trustee Mejia, and we had a lot of discussion about the GATE program and where it's going and the new plans to open it up to more students. And there was a great interest in how we could increase the number of Black students attending the GATE program that night. So I was pleased to hear some of the community members speak to that. And so we'll see how we can address that. And then lastly, I attended the Clergy Council, and it's usually a participation with law enforcement and Family Justice Center, school district. And this time they decided to do something very unique and celebrated cheerleaders. So when I came, I was expecting to see high school cheerleaders. I saw cheerleaders, small like Matthias, and they were just little tiny girls from all over the county, and it was such a great celebration, and we gave them little chocolate roses because it was Valentine's Day. It happened to be, it landed on Valentine's Day. So it was a really special event, but I was pleased to be there and just participate in that ceremony that they did for the little guys. So it was special. So thank you very much.
Okay, I have a few reports. When I went to along with Trustee Brown, to the SCOE presentation on the state budget and expulsions, that they had very good information on the state budget as well as the expulsion process. So I was very pleased with the information that I got regarding the expulsion. Also attended the Asian American Youth Leadership Conference that they had at the Ag Center off Cornucopia out there, the County Ag Center, and many of the students were from Modesto City Schools that had been bused there, and they had workshops for the students that they attended, and so it was to me a very good turnout, and students were engaged in the workshops. Also attended the LCR Candidates Forum. They had the luncheon there to hear the mayoral candidates. And also went to the NAACP Candidates Forum as well, which had a cross-section of candidates from city, local, county, state, and federal candidates participating. Went to the Ethnic Studies Guidance Council. Was really pleased or where we are at with the Ethnic Studies Council in our district and the processes that we have gone through with bringing that to fruition. It seems to be going really, really well, Mike. Really thank you for your guidance, your support, and your leadership in that area. Ethnic studies is going to be a reality in our school district as a graduation requirement. I think it's a good thing. Also got a chance to participate in a BHM video, Black History Month video with our district, highlighting some of the things I've done with Black history. But also I got to include my aunt, and my aunt is credited with being the first African-American animator, female animator. She worked back in the late 60s and 70s through the 80s for Walt Disney, Warner Brothers. Her last assignment was with King of the Hill and Simpsons. And so it was really good that I got the chance to highlight her as an animator. As a child growing up, I always was enamored by her drawings and things like that growing up. So that was very a very touching thing to be able to highlight her. During the Academy Awards, she was actually featured in the memoriam when she passed away in 2020, but they highlight all the folks in the business on that video, and she was one of those that they highlighted of her passing. So that was good. With seeing no more reports, we're gonna move on to approval of the consent.
You're reminded that we are requesting to pull, it's right there, okay.
Yes, we're gonna move to the approval of a consent agenda, and there has been a request by the superintendent to pull item E2 from the consent agenda. Are there any comments regarding consent agenda items? No comments. Do I
move approval. Is that all right? No, not yet.
So, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda item?
I move approval.
Second? Been properly moved and second that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of order of discussion items. Do I hear a motion to approve the order of discussion items? Been moved by Trustee Lopez and seconded by Trustee Mejia. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those who oppose have the same right. Any abstentions? Motion carried. So this is A10, our period for public presentation. Board Bylaw 9322B. This takes us to the period for public presentations. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting and showing interest in our schools. I have 16 cards. Right now, 16 only. Cards tonight, and I ask each speaker to come to the podium and address the board. You will have 2 minutes to speak. In our normal time allowed, so to accommodate everyone that has requested to address the board, we are adjusting the time limit to a maximum of 2 minutes per speaker. And the exception for those that need translation services. Again, each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. And our first speaker is Chris Peterson. Welcome, Mr. Peterson.
For some strange reason, that never happens to me, but I'll take it. Good evening, Board President Irvin, trustees, Dr. Noguchi, and Cabinet, Modesto community members. My name is Chris Peterson, proud president of the Modesto Teachers Association. This evening, membership from the association are here to share their views with MCS trustees and our community about our current contract negotiations for 23-24. Beginning last April of 23, with 9 bargaining sessions completed, impasse was declared by MTA. The Public Employee Relations Board supported the position. Next Monday, March 11th, a state mediator will support our negotiations process. When evaluating proposals, contracts, working conditions, comparing districts is inevitable. For means of comparison, total compensation is used to compare these districts. Looking solely at salary provides an incomplete picture. Salary with healthcare contributions is the most complete reflection of compensation. A simple average reflected in handouts does not provide that context. Recruit and retain new teachers to a district is a common goal and approach for every educational community. When competing against neighboring districts, it's difficult to ignore total compensation for teachers and educators, salary and healthcare. That's the comparison. For this evening, with time in mind, a broad spectrum of educators will share their own experiences. Please consider these perspectives as we collectively advocate for settlement. Procedurally, to save time for speakers, just as administrators provide for reports to the board, we've suggested eliminating the formal greeting. We'll go with themselves, their site, their grade level, and then share their perspective. Thank you for this opportunity. Go get them, MTA.
Again, thank you. We cannot engage in discussion or take formal action on items not on the agenda. We thank you for your following the protocol and addressing the board, and for taking the time to share your views with us this evening. Our next speaker will be Kelly Blanc. Kelly Blanc. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, my name is Kelly Blanc. This is my 27th year working for Modesto City Schools. I'm currently at Bayer High. There's a teacher shortage, and data shows there's 2 main reasons why people don't go into education or teachers quit: salary and stress. And if you look outside these blinds, you're gonna see a lot of stressed teachers. And think about the cost of living, how it's skyrocketed. The cost of our medical insurance is horrific. Combine that with heightened safety issues, rising school violence, no wonder there's a teacher shortage. Trustees, how many admin on our schools positions are either unfilled or filled by admin with no admin credential? The answer is 0. But think about teachers. How many teaching positions are filled today at Modesto City Schools with teachers without a credential? 92. 92. And that emphasizes how our money is spent towards admin and not on teachers. And think about those students. Data clearly shows that they're widening the achievement gap because they have underprepared teachers. There's a teaching shortage, and you need us. And this contract says we value education, but you don't value the educator. Teachers make 23% than your educated college peers, and we are struggling. 2017, I became a single mom. Wasn't planning on it. I struggled making my house payment. I had to rely on my parents because my health insurance for a family was similar to a house payment. No teacher should get a second job just to make ends meet, and we do it all the time. I am ready to strike. I will walk out these doors, and I will convince as many teachers as I can to strike with me. Remember that.
Thank you. Again, we cannot engage in discussion or take formal action on items not on the agenda. We thank you for following the protocol and addressing the board, and for taking the time to share your views with us this evening. Our next speaker, Blake Mitten.
Greetings, trustees and superintendent. I was up here in December and had written invitations and invited all the trustees and the superintendent to attend a dinner that was put on by the CTA. The CTA vice president, which was a good honor, came and spoke. And we had board members from Ceres, Denair, Empire, Houston, Keys, Stanislaus County, Riverbank, Sylvan, Turlock, board members and superintendents. There was only, I think, 2 superintendents who didn't attend because they had conflicts. We had nobody, and that's pretty bad. We did not even get replies from the trustees from that invitation. And here's the thing, when you look out in that parking lot and you see the emotion, I think this dovetails with what we're seeing. There's lots of platitudes about respect for teachers, honoring teachers, but when it comes down to it, I'll be honest, I don't think that the decision-making as far as funding and where the salary and all that, it's about pivoting the money over here to the district office. That's how it feels. You know, the teachers, high school teachers, took on a longer work day without any change in compensation. Ask yourself, would cops, teachers, firefighters, nurses, anybody else do that? It's, you know, when you're looking at what's going on right now, I have teachers telling me I'm about to retire. I've had many teachers come up to me and say, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I'm not gonna be able to make it to retirement. I'm gonna get out. I have teachers telling me that they're telling their adult kids going into college, don't go into teaching. We've got more problems than this contract. And we need to get this contract settled quickly, because if we don't change the culture that's going on right now, you're gonna end up seeing some really difficult to repair situations that in our district. So I would encourage you to work quickly.
Morado.
It's hard to follow such eloquence. Sorry about that. My name's Mary McGinn Morado, and I teach second grade at Christian Elementary. When I began my full-time teaching career in 1994 in a small district in Stanislaus County, I moved to MCS in 1998, and I had 2 main motivating factors. First, MCS offered wonderful staff development opportunities, and this was before our robust CIP department. But more importantly, the pay was significantly higher. This was vital for my small family because my husband was a full-time college student and we had a very young child. Let's fast forward to our new millennium, literally, and the new reality of education. We have a teacher shortage even in the Central Valley. That's new. We've never had a shortage in the Central Valley. I'd like to focus on 2 stipends that MTA has proposed: the BCLAD bilingual credential stipend and the SPED stipends. We want to be a destination district. One of the ways to attract families to MCS is to offer specialized programs like DLA at Bret Harte. A $2,000 stipend is proposed to recognize the increased workload for those BCLAD teachers. Second, MTA proposes a $2,500 stipend for all SPED employees. Special education teachers have a heart of gold and are worth their weight in platinum. They educate our most vulnerable populations. Currently, 2 of my Kirshen students are not receiving federally mandated speech services since November of 2023 because their teacher is out on leave and no one has been found to instruct them. Stipends are an effective way to attract, recruit, and retain valuable employees. I don't want other children like my students to not receive instruction because of the lack of staff. Refusing to pay sped stipends will severely impact attracting, recruiting, and most importantly, retaining employees. Let me finish this because this is important. I am proud to work for a school district that has an amazing and effective professional development department. Considering the significant PD dollars MCS spends on new employees, refusing to compensate them with a fair market wage and stipends will negatively impact MCS's pool of teaching talent. MCS's investment in new teachers will not reap the necessary benefits in the long term. Educators like myself who left smaller districts to move to MCS rarely return to a previous job unless forced to by economic necessity. There is no doubt there's a teacher shortage. Stipends are an effective way to build a talented teacher corps in this competitive job market. I want MCS to be the destination district who can attract and maintain top talent in the Central Valley. Thank you for your
Thank you.
patience.
Chamberlain.
I'm Josh Chamberlain, first grade teacher at Sonoma Elementary School. I stand before you today not only as an educator, but for an advocate for the hardworking teachers of this district. Like many of my peers, I find myself at a crossroads between the dreams of building a family and the unwavering passion that I hold for this profession. Yet these dreams under this current pay structure seem distant and daunting. I've gathered data on the average cost in our area for a family of 3, and here's some of the numbers that I have found. Rent is $1,642 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. Utilities, $313. Health insurance, $1,986 on average out of pocket. Groceries, $902. Used car payment, $503. Student loan payment, $342. Fuel and car insurance, $350. That's a total of $6,068 per month. As a third-year teacher in Modesto City Schools, my salary stands at $33,000 less than the average Modesto City Schools teacher. After deductions, I'm left with $3,994 a month to cover the average expenses previously stated, which leaves me $2,074 over budget. So I ask you, what aspects of your life would you cut to meet ends meet like I have to? Speaking of sacrifices, let's talk about the other financial hardships that teachers face. The emotional toll of constantly stretching our own resources and the burden of knowing that our students' success often depends on our own sacrifices. I receive a classroom budget of $150 for the entire school year. That averages $6.25 per student for the entire year. Every year I find myself digging into my own pocket, spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on supplies for my classroom. Why? Because our students deserve better. Meanwhile, teachers are digging into their empty pockets, and within the last 5 years, the district has increased administrative spending by 74%, while only increasing teacher spending 36%. So I urge you to listen to more than just the numbers, but to the voices of the teachers standing outside who pour their heart into this noble profession. Invest in us, invest in our students, and let's build a destination district where every teacher can thrive, where every student can succeed. In closing, let us remember, every student matters, every moment counts. This isn't just a Modesto City Schools motto. It's a testament to the profound impact that teachers have on shaping young minds. As we advocate for better pay, let's ensure the individuals that spend every moment with our students are financially respected for the selfless work we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Byron. Ivy Byron.
Good evening. My name is Ivy Byron, and I have been an English teacher at Enoch since 2007. My colleague Danette Shostak and I have put together a statement that we feel represents the perspectives of many high school teachers in MCS. One thing I think we can all agree on is that we want what is best for students in our district. Last week, the district posted the impasse in Parent Square. The post stated that Modesto City Schools was committed to bargaining in good faith and was linked to an FAQ. In a shared spirit of transparency and good faith, here's some information that our colleagues feel was not effectively communicated. A real contention for teachers in the district is the widening gap in administrative growth versus certificated employee growth. From 2020 to 2023, certificated staff increased 8%, while administrative staff increased 27%. In addition to the overall size growth mentioned above, the overall spending increase is even more drastic. In 2018 to 2023, certificated spending increased a total of 36%, while administrative spending increased a total of 74%. MTA is currently asking for an 11% raise, while MCS is at a 6.25%. In a document that was emailed by the district to certificated staff on February 21st, it stated that the projected COLA for next year is 0.76%. We are still negotiating for this year, 2023-24. The COLA for this year is 8.22%, for which the district has been compensated. The ongoing monies given to the district by the state at the end of last year was 18% to include the 8.22 COLA, plus other funds. To say we are the highest paid district in the area is misleading. In 2022, we were the highest paid district. Ceres, Turlock, Stanislaus Union, among others that I don't have time to list, are all settled on ongoing salary proposals more than what MCS has offered. A new teacher working at Ceres would make $108,000 more than one in Modesto City Schools over the course of a full career. By the same measurement, we are currently ranked 3rd in Stanislaus County for teacher compensation. The teachers at Modesto City Schools care about the big picture just as much as the district office does. None of us want this to disrupt education. We want what is best for students and what is the best for long-term retention of top quality professionals who will do right by the students and families of Modesto. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bautista.
My name is Patty Bautista. I've been a teacher in Modesto City Schools for over 23 years. I am currently a dual language academy teacher, 1st grade at Bret Harte. Tonight, I'd like to bring to your attention just a few things in regard to the DLA stipend that we have asked for. Are you aware that shelter teachers or English-only teachers teach a curriculum in 1 language? While DLA teachers teach in 2 languages, that means we have more planning time. We have double curriculum teacher manuals to look at. Are you aware that shelter teachers assess in 1 language while DLA teachers assess in 2 languages? That means that while shelter teachers assess 24 to 34 students, DLA teachers assess 48 to 68 students, depending on whether they're primary or intermediate teachers, which also means that DLA teachers have double grading to do. Are you aware that while shelter teachers do 24 to 34 report cards, DLA teachers do double that? We do 48 to 68 report cards, all in the same time frame. We are not given more time to complete our report cards or any of the extra work. Are you aware that DLA teachers have a specialized credential, and that many neighboring districts like Patterson, Ceres, Turlock, Riverbank, just to name a few, compensate their teachers not only for having the specialized credential, but for teaching in their dual language programs? I am passionate about the Dual Language Academy. I believe in the program, which is why I continue to teach in the program. But we have lost great teachers to the program due to the extra workload. If we really want to be a destination district and have students pass the AP exam in 8th grade and receive the seal of biliteracy, if we really want to be a destination district and not lose great teachers to neighboring districts who do offer stipends, I urge you to vote in favor of compensating dual language teachers with a stipend. Our site currently has openings in the DLA program. We don't want to lose them to neighboring districts. We want to retain and keep good teachers in our site and in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Cowell.
Good evening, I'm Angela Cowell, and I'm the 2-3 combo teacher, course director, and a RISE teacher at Wilson Elementary. This is my 21st year at Wilson, and to say the least, I love my job, as do many of my colleagues. Both our goals are linked here to numbers. You want to see the test scores go up to justify a raise. We want the test scores to rise to show how hard we are working every day for our children. Sadly, the barometer for our raise has been tied to the scores, not the grit, on the performance of another human being. Then unfortunately, we have had a blitzkrieg on social media from our very own district office at Modesto B. The misleading so-called average of 108,000 leading the community to believe that is our take home. One gentleman even said, teachers only work 180 days out of 365, as if we do not deserve a weekend or holidays. As said on the MCS post, we are the labor force. We are the ones called upon to put the educational ideas of the district office into motion in real time with real students, with real problems. When MCS posted that if the parents supported teachers to not worry, it wouldn't pit them against the district, I thought, wait, what? Against the district? I am not part of this district. Sorry, emotional. We all have different titles and jobs, but we are all one district. At Wilson, we love and respect each other over there, no matter the position. We are all there at a tiny school trying to make a difference in our students' lives. And not just in test scores, but in empathy, civility, compassion, respect, and encouragement. That's what we should all have for each other tonight. I just ask that you show appreciation for all the hardworking teachers that are out there by bringing more than just 0.25% to the mediation table. And if you do post online again, please refer to the district poster that says think, and make sure, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary and kind? We ask for a fair contract. Please emphasize with that, and if you do, I promise you, along with many of my colleagues, though we may not be Teacher of the Year, we will teach as if we were and be worthy of our hire every day until we retire.
Samuel Alberto, can't read the last man, Haas. Translation services.
Buenas noches a todos, gracias por su tiempo, por venir. Tengo aquí un caso de mi hija, porque está pasando en problemas de salud en la escuela por culpa de los maestros desde el año pasado. Mi hija tiene 10 años, y ella sufre del corazón.
Deja que ella.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Well, this parent is here tonight to talk about his daughter, that she has health issues since last year. His daughter is 10 years old and she has heart issues.
El problema que tenemos con mi hija tiene un año ya. Empezamos mandando una carta a Mr. Conti, que es la directora de la escuela, por culpa del maestro. ¿Qué está pasando eso? Mi hija está siendo abusada psicológicamente. Entonces hicimos una carta, aquí tengo las pruebas, se le entregó a la maestra Country.
Well, this all started since last year. Parent here has a letter that he sent to the principal Conte, and this is about because of a teacher from the school that is abusing her psychologically.
Tuvimos 3 juntas para arreglar este problema, pero no nos hicieron caso, no tenemos voz ahí, y les agradecería a todos que nos ayudaran, a mí y a mi esposa y a mi hija, para que se resuelva este problema. El día viernes, este viernes 1 de marzo a las 8:12, mi hija íbamos camino a la escuela y a medio camino ella se sintió mal, le dio un dolor en el corazón y tuve que llamar a emergencias. Y esta es la segunda vez que va a emergencias.
They've already had 3 meetings at the school side. They've been asking for help, and they're here today asking for your help once again. Last Friday, they were walking to the school, but the student didn't feel good. She felt like a sharp pain in her heart, and therefore they had to call the emergency.
Lo que estoy pidiendo ahora es que se investigue esa escuela, a la directora, a Mr. Conti, a Mr. Pérez, a Mr. King, porque no hicieron caso, no nos ayudaron. Y estoy pidiendo para que solucione el problema, que cambien a mi hija inmediatamente de escuela, porque ella está en peligro de muerte. Y les agradecería que me ayudaran para que despidieran a Mr. Conti, a esos maestros, porque los niños están en peligro.
I'm here today asking you to investigate the principal, to investigate Mr. Perez and Mr. King as well. They haven't helped us at all. We want them or you to help us transfer to another school, since this could be mortal for our daughter. I'm asking you for your help and to investigate once again this issue.
What- Yes, give me, is that Bernice Alberto?
Como mi esposo comentó, este problema lo tenemos desde cuando iba, me llamo Berenice, mi hija va en la escuela Brehart, va ahorita en 4º grado, pero este problema lo tenemos desde cuando ella iba en 3er grado.
My name is Berenice, and as my husband said, we had this issue since last year. My daughter goes to Bret Hart. Now she is a 4th grader.
Tuvimos 3 juntas con la directora, en la última no me gustó se podría decir lo que se decidió en la reunión no me gustó. Hicimos una carta para ella diciéndole que no estábamos de acuerdo con lo que ella quería, con la decisión, y nunca nos hicieron una carta diciéndonos que eso se iba a hacer, algo se iba a hacer, una investigación. Nunca se hizo ninguna investigación y no se hizo por escrito.
We had 3 meetings, and during those 3 meetings, we didn't like what was decided. We didn't agree on anything. We wrote a letter and that letter was never replied. This issue was never investigated.
Y cuando estábamos en la segunda junta más o menos, ella me dijo, yo le estaba explicando cómo estuvo el asunto con el maestro, y en un asunto que yo estuve allí, como yo soy una persona muy molesta, la verdad, y esa vez yo le dije una mala palabra, para ella fuera mala palabra, que le dije pinche, pero no le dije a ella, sino que yo le dije en ese momento lo que estaba explicando lo que pasó con el maestro, porque yo ya había hablado con el maestro. Como no se arregló, me fui a la oficina, le expliqué a ella, y cuando yo le dije esa palabra, ella me dijo que iba a llamar a la policía. Solo por decir esa palabra. Sí.
Needed to clarify something, okay? In the second meeting, something happened, And then mom, she has certain attitude, and she has passion. Okay. Mom has certain passion, so she has her way of saying certain things. So she used an expression proper from our culture, which was pinche, and then the principal apparently got mad, but mom wasn't intended to say that word to her. It was just an expression, a cultural expression.
Okay, y como yo no,
And she threatened to call the cops on mom.
And she threatened to call the cops on mom.
And that's why we're here tonight.
y después ya cuando fuimos a la última junta fue cuando yo llevé mi carta, le tengo pruebas de que yo le dije a ella aquí en esta carta pidiéndole que investigara, nunca investigaron. Y ya después de que yo mandé esta carta, según ellos iban a darle ayuda, me dieron ayuda psicológica, pero la verdad esa no fue ayuda. Ayuda de matemáticas le iban a dar también, yo pedí ayuda de matemáticas y le dieron ayuda de matemáticas, pero con el mismo maestro, pero ¿cómo le iba a dar ayuda al mismo maestro si ella le daba mucho miedo? Incluso una vez el maestro cuando salió afuera, él se paró enfrente de ella así, bien firme, de repente llegó, le hizo así. Y mi hija estaba así, temblorosa y viéndolo así, que se quedó, ni siquiera podía ni hablar del miedo que le tenía el maestro.
Okay.
During the last meeting, mom brought, well, the letter that father already told about, asking to investigate. They gave him psychological help, and also they were told that she was going to receive help in math, but sadly it was with the same teacher, the teacher that the student is afraid of. And mom here was telling us how once the teacher stood in front of her, blocking her path, and the student completely froze.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maribel Martinez.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Maribel Martínez. Yo soy mamá de un estudiante de la Bret Hart y que está siendo golpeado y abusado de bullying. Y el niño siempre le dice a Miss Baker y Miss Baker nunca hace nada. Nunca me llaman para decirme lo que está pasando. Yo me doy cuenta por mi hija que me habla y me dice, oh, golpearon a mi hermano. Le hicieron esto y le dijeron a Miss Baker, pero Miss Baker nunca me habla y ya voy yo y me dicen que
My name is Maribel Martinez, and my student goes to Bret Hart. I'm here today because my student is being bullied and abused at school site. I have told with Mrs. Baker several times, but I am aware of this issue because of my daughter. My daughter is the one that tells me and informs me what is going on at school.
y hablo para que me hagan junta con la Miss Baker y con mi Conte y nunca me llaman para atrás, ni me hacen cita, ni me regresan la llamada, ni nada. Quiero que investiguen a las directoras porque ya al niño ya lo golpearon y le dejaron un ojo negro por más de un mes y no hicieron nada. Al niño, al otro estudiante, oye.
Well, I've been speaking with trying to speak with Mrs. Baker, but they don't answer or return any of my calls. I'm here today to ask you to please investigate what is going on. Some time ago, my student had a black eye, and he had that black eye for over a month.
Y yo no veo que tenga el otro estudiante consecuencias ni estén haciendo nada.
And I see that the other student has no consequences and the site is doing nothing.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie Martinez.
Debbie Martinez, founder of We Are La Raza Parents Union. Union means nothing to us. With no disrespect, we don't pay union dues, nor does a union represent our children. With all due respect, MCS, your administration site over at Fremont and Bret Harte has woken up a sleepy lion. Who is defending our children's democracy? We are currently in election year. You, local officials, are our voice, our parents' voice. Chronic absentees? You wonder why? We lost Andy in 2015. Chad, Cindy, you were there when I had to fight for those defibrillators to come out from the basement. Now we have fast forward 2024. I'll be damned if another child is gonna come home in a pine box. Micromanaging student support? Enough is enough. I need you. You are our voice. You are his voice. Micromanaging from afar is gonna get us another child in a pine box if nobody pays attention to our children's democracy, constitutional rights. They're asking for more pay. How can they get more pay when we, the people, the parents, are paying them? But they don't have a voice? This is what I'm asking for. Because I was told at Fremont just on Monday, Dr. Noguchi, and trust me, I haven't been coming because I'm trying to let it calm down. I'm trying to work behind the scenes. But when I have an administrator who tells me, don't look at me that way, your principal over at Bret Harte, yeah, she needs to go. I'm done with all of the violations, and then her husband attacks me at at IEP meetings on different sites because I'm going to his wife and calling out the violations. It's too much already. I'm getting ready to go to DOJ now. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Aguiano.
Good evening, Board. I'm Aaron Anguiano. I'm the chairperson of the Education Committee of the Latino Community Roundtable. And as you know me, I am the parent of 3 children attending Modesto City Schools. And the reason I'm here today is because I always think about what's going on with this educational gap between white students and Latino children. And it doesn't get anywhere from 15 to 20% in math and English. And what can we do? You know, I've been complaining about grading and all that, and I'm happy to hear that you're working on it. But the other thing that I think of is that you gotta fix your detentions and suspensions. Because what we got now is something mixed. We bring the student in detention and then we suspend them in school so that you get paid and you don't lose the funding and we don't get to babysit them. I understand that's cool. But the thing is that you embarrass the child, you hold them in a class. It's not a classroom, it's a detention room that looks like a little prison anyways, because you have a campus supervisor, a teacher, and your security guards that come and go. So it's not the best environment. I think that you need to have a positive climate and environment where you can provide services like counseling. You know, the child violence policy 1, 2, 3, 20 times. I don't care. You should not be detaining in those rooms for days or weeks, okay? You need to provide counseling. Call the parents immediately, not 2, 3 days as you stated before, immediately. Because if somebody held your child, wouldn't you want to know that your child's being held? I just don't get it. Well, how can you can say that you can call them 2, 3 days later? No. You need to call the parents immediately and formulate a plan of counseling with the child. If you vape 1 or 10 times, you need to counsel with the child and work with the parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, well, that was our last presentation. And now we'll move on to item B1. Where are they? Where? They're not here. Yeah, I don't have them. Did they drop on the floor? Send me your papers.
Urban, do you mind if I come up? Kathy Presley from Shackelford. I turned it in at 5:15. At the door.
Hold
Yeah.
on, I'm gonna go through here. Hold on. So I'm just gonna go through the names. Chris Peterson, Kelly Blanc, Amy Matlock. You have? Okay, Amy Matlock.
Come on, Amy. Find my card, I'm sure.
Hi, good evening. My name is Amy
Sorry.
Shepherd Matlock, and I currently teach at Modesto High School. This is my 27th year of teaching, with the last 24 working in Modesto City Schools. The main point I want to address is medical rates, and we've already heard quite a bit about that. I know that the medical rates have skyrocketed in the past several years. However, it has become prohibitively expensive to provide health insurance for a family in Modesto City Schools. While the increase of $100 per month to help offset the cost of health insurance is appreciated, I personally and still am unable to provide insurance for my family through Modesto City Schools. I am near the top of the salary scale too. So the cost to insure myself and child is actually a mortgage payment in addition to my actual mortgage payment. So just for some data, I'm using current salary and insurance information provided from the district. A new teacher makes $68,150. If they choose to insure themselves, the cheapest insurance is $1,450 per year. That's reasonable. To cover themselves plus one, the cost jumps to $13,713 a year. If they have to cover their family, it's now escalates to $21,068 per year. This is almost a third of their beginning teacher salary before any additional deductions take place. This is the cheapest HMO. So Medi-Cal, the cost point for Medi-Cal is $35,535. And after insurance, the teacher's salary is $37,152 without any other deductions. Ceres Union, Turlock, and Sylvan all contribute substantially more towards health benefits. At one point in time, if you wanted to teach in the Valley, Modesto City Schools was the destination district for salary and benefits. I left Manteca Unified full-time to work 60%, and I made more at Modesto City Schools. And yet, we're the largest district in the surrounding area. I think we can do better. If Modesto City School wants to attract and retain quality educators, we have to offer more, we must be more, and we must be better. Let's be the destination district, not only for our students, but for our employees. Thank you.
Catherine Presley. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Catherine Presley, and I teach first grade at Shackelford. I believe we are better when we work together as one. You asked for our help to advocate for measures D, E, and L to keep facility costs away from the general fund, away from the classrooms. We walked precincts, we stuffed envelopes, we delivered signs, we worked together side by side with you. You asked and we were there. Now we are asking. Are your bargaining efforts showing that the teachers are worthy of the best the community can give? Are your bargaining efforts creating a destination district that will attract and retain quality educators? With a teacher shortage today, educators have a choice of which district to choose. Are we really the most attractive district out there? Why would they choose us if their out-of-pocket medical premiums could be up to $31,000 for a family or $22,000 for a married couple. Trustees, you were elected and entrusted with governing Modesto City Schools. Our families and communities should know you. After all, you'll be asking for our votes. Where are you daily? Administrative spending has increased 74% since 2018. Are you asking the right questions? Administrative spending is increasing, yet my classroom budget has decreased from $500 a year to $150 a year. Are you asking the tough questions? Are you visiting classrooms? We don't see you, we don't hear you, we don't know you, and we should. We want to share our stories, our students, and our learning. Now is the time to step up as the largest district in the county and take another step towards becoming a destination district. Now is the time to compensate with ongoing funds and support certificated staff. Now is the time to show certificated staff you believe in their worth, their work, their efforts. Now is the time to step forward as trustees and support our teachers, our nurses, and our special education professionals. Our students, our children, my grandchildren deserve the best this district can give.
Thank you. Last comment card, that one was, right? Thank you. Thank you all. Next, we're item B1, student representative to the board report. We have our student representative, Ms. Akwai.
Thank you for everyone who, okay, sorry. Okay, thank you, President Irvin. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. I hope that everyone has had, a great Monday so far, and that we continue to have a good week. I'll just, get right into it. I had the privilege of going to the STEAM Symposium in Long Beach in February, and we got to partner with Merced Unified School District to discuss the efforts that our district has been taking in sustainability. So we discussed, our new fleet of electric school buses, the purple air monitors that we have across our school sites that monitor and track air quality, and so students are getting the opportunity to use that data to create their own sort of projects and create efforts towards just better environmentalism in our school district. And then we also talked about our efforts with the Daraji Academy, which is something that we've partnered with Merced Unified to support girls to attain an education in Kenya. So I'd like to thank Mr. Gilbert Rosas, who sort of led the way to get us to Long Beach and who has really taken great strides in sustainability here in Modesto. We also had an inter-high council meeting in February, which we caught up on our school updates, and so what all is going on in each campus. So spring sports are up in full steam. So many of the students are outside. The weather's getting warmer, so you'll see softball and volleyball and all of those things outside. And many of the ASB classes are also going through elections and the reapplication process. So there's a transfer of power at many of our high schools as well. And many of the ASBs are planning for proms and end of school activities in general. We also were able to catch up on our progress on our service projects. So that is a sixth grade sort of mentorship via Flipgrid between high school juniors and seniors and sixth graders in our district. And so we've had a lot of great communication with those. We've had our sort of first stages of the progress or of the project rollout. So it's very exciting to see as our students start to build those connections and how we'll be able to take that further through the end of the year and then hopefully in upcoming years as well. To that end, as Trustee Brown mentioned, we were able to find a singer of the national anthem for the board dinner, so that's very exciting. I can't wait for you all to hear her. And additionally, I had the pleasure of speaking with Miss Julieta Bisharian from the Modesto Beam about the work that we've been doing with the Ethnic Studies Guidance Council. So I got to talk about, I had the privilege of bringing student voice to that, and how I honestly do believe that the course is going to be very impactful for our students, and it's going to be very inspirational and help our students in their journeys throughout high school and just on with life. So I was very excited to get to talk with her about that. And I'd like to say thanks to Ms. Shams and Ms. Muma Solario, who helped to set that up and get that rolling as well. And then I also got to attend last month's Student Advisory Council meeting, where we got to tour district facilities. So we got to look at all the reprographic stuff and go to the food services. And I just think, once again, from a student, it's very humbling to see how much work that all of our district employees put into making sure that we are able to have the best learning environment possible. So we are honestly very, very grateful for everybody in our district, from our teachers to our staff, everybody. And I also got to interview a panel of students at the Student Advisory Council who were talking about their just experiences in school, what they appreciate about their teachers, and how they feel about their school environment. So I think that video was able to go out to some teachers and staff, and so I'm excited to see sort of what is able to come out of that as well. So thank you. That's all for me today.
Thank you, Student Board Rep Akwai. Great report. That moves us to our Modesto Teachers Association report. Their report. Thank you. Before the California School Employees Association report, we have a report from CSEA. Come on up.
I actually wrote it in my notes this time. My name's Fawn Peterson. I'm with the California School Employees Association, the Modesto 007 chapter president. Over the next 9 months, at the next 9 school boards meetings, I'm going to take the opportunity, I would like to take the opportunity for you guys to get to know our executive board. And so today, I brought Soriel Marroquin with me. She is our chapter's 3rd VP, and I'd like her to take a few moments and introduce herself to the board.
Good evening, members of the Modesto City School Board and Superintendent. As she said, my name is Soriel Marroquin, as well as a 3rd VP of California School Employee Association, Modesto Chapter 007. I am also a union job steward and currently employed at Bayer High School as a school secretary. I stand here on behalf of classified staff members impacted by the proposed layoffs. At this point, it looks like nearly 30 members will be impacted. This decision isn't just about finances. It affects the lives and families of our members, as well as the students and staff we support. The district management must consider the human cost of their actions. Lives are not dollar signs, and our community deserves better. California School Employee Association recommends a no vote on the proposed layoffs of positions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And speaking to that point that Soriel brought up, the nearly 30 classified employees that will be affected by the layoff proposal that is before the board tonight. It's important to remember that those positions that are going to lay off are filled with people that work and live in our community who whose children may be going to our schools. Of these nearly 30, there's 27 at last count, and I really appreciate all the effort that HR has made to find funding for some of the positions and remove them from the layoff list, to find positions that are open so they can laterally transfer over some students, but at this, or employees, but at this point, there are still 27 employees who do not have a home for their skills. We're hoping that we can do some dominoes and slide people into spots, but we don't know for sure yet, and HR is working on that. But one thing to remember on that layoff list, 20 of those positions are going to lay off due to lack of funds, not due to lack of work. So who's going to do the work? Are you then going to slide that work to an employee who's already working full-time? Something to think about. Lack of funds doesn't mean the work doesn't get done, but who ends up doing it? As Soriel said, CSEA, California Schools Employees Association, recommends a no vote at this time on that layoff list. Let's see what we can do working together to find those individuals' positions so they can remain within the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and that brings us to item B4, approval of acceptance of the district's 2022-2023 financial statement and auditor's report. And giving that will be Mr. Tim Zerley.
Yes, good evening, President Irvin, trustees. Education code requires that every school district provide an annual audit of the financial records, and each audit shall include all funds of the district, including student body and cafeteria funds. The 22-23 audit has been filed as required with the county superintendent, the State Department of Education, and the state controller's offices. Mr. Mark Dew of Eid Bailey will make a brief presentation to the board on the audit results, opinions, and findings. The auditor's overall opinion was that the financial statements present fairly the financial position of Modesto City Schools as of June 30th, 2023, in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. At the end of the presentation, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the acceptance of the district's 22-23 financial statements and auditor's report. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Mark Dew. I'm one of the managers of the Eid Bailey office in Fresno. And I know our partner, Bill Williams, has already talked with a few members of the board more in detail of the audit report, so I'll just cover the highlights for now. So first of all, we'd just like to say thank you from all the school sites and everyone at the district office. We start the district audit off at the beginning of the year, going to the school sites, looking at attendance, looking at ASB. Then we go to the district office and we look at controls over disbursements and cash receipts and payroll. We look over state compliance, we look over federal compliance. And then later on in the year, we visit again, and once the books are closed, and we look at the balance sheet accounts like cash, accounts receivables, accounts payable. And it takes a lot of work and cooperation and time to find these samples and to work with district staff. So we really appreciate all the efforts. And like Tim said, after all this work, our main job is to audit, to give an opinion on the audit report. And your opinion was a modified opinion, which is the highest opinion an audit firm can give, which means that your audit was in compliance in all material respects to the general government's accounting standards. And going into the audit report, thank you. One section I always like to refer to which is the first section, the management discussion and analysis. That's really one of the only sections in the audit report where you can compare the prior year numbers to the current year numbers. And it's also a spot where the district goes in and just gives highlights of what happened during the year. And more of a breakdown of the audit reports It starts with the financial statements and then goes into the notes of the financial statements and supplementary information. The reports that you usually don't see until the audit report are the statement of net position and the statement of activities. And this is because it's a combination of all the funds, and it takes the modified accrual accounting and brings it to full accrual. So you'll see things like long-term debt and capital assets. And any questions you might have in the audit report, you can always go back into the footnotes. So if you have a question about the debt and what it could be, or maybe the capital assets, you can flip back into the footnotes and find much more detailed information. And on the statement of net position, a number that always jumps out at me is at the bottom in the statement of net position, and it's a large negative unrestricted net position of about $300 million. And that's mainly due to a couple generally accepted governmental auditing standards that brought in the net pension obligation and the OPEB obligation to your financial statements. And for the pension, it brings in the district's share of the state's unfunded pension liabilities. So you see this at basically all school districts, and it's just what happened due to GASB 68. And just a few highlights: the general fund increased by about $66 million this year. The district had 9% of available reserves, which is above the 3% required state reserve percentage. And ADA increased from the prior year, but is still down from 2021 totals. And that is it. Does anyone have any questions?
Is there any public comment? Public comment? We have one public comment. Yes.
Thank you for your report. Debbie Martinez, I represent community. I just have one question. Is this available in Spanish, or did I overlook it in the, did we get this in Spanish?
We do not.
How can I get it in Spanish? I had Spanish stakeholders present, and it was nothing there for them to walk away with. How can we get it in Spanish?
We will have it translated.
Thank you.
Any other comment, questions from the audience there, from the public? Board members? Any comments from board members? Oh, I have one. Is our ASB and other, I guess, auxiliary entities governed by the FCMAT?
It's not governed by FCMAT, but they sent out a list of procedures and policies that we recommend that is followed. And it's almost a 300-page report, right, with all procedures from cash receipts to disbursements to internal controls. So we always recommend, and we give school districts, when we visit sites, we give them a copy of that ASB manual, and we recommend all policies are followed.
And are we doing that, Tim? Mr. Zerley, or?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to know. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we are approving this, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the audit report? And been moved by Trustee Mejia, second by Trustee Daly. All in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you for your report. B5, approval of the vote for no more than one candidate for the California School Boards Association, CSBA, Delegate Assembly 2024. And so as a board, we have selected our Trustee Daly to be our representative to the Delegate Assembly for CSBA. And I call for a motion to approve. All right, been approved by Trustee Marks and a second by Trustee Mejia. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you, Trustee Daly, for being our representative to the Delegate Assembly. Yes. All righty.
We'll find out.
That's right,
in
there's still a
month.
process to
Yeah.
go. She's our designated Delegate Assembly.
So now the
Right, the
voters
vote.
in Stanislaus County, the school
Right.
boards are voting for that as
Right.
well, so.
Okay, is there anything we need to do to politic or advocate? To get her in there? All right. B6, approval of resolution number 23/2425, authorizing reduction and or elimination of classified and classified management services for the 2024-2025 school year. Our speaker this evening will be Mr. Mike Henderson.
Good evening, Board President Irvin, trustees, Dr. Noguchi, and cabinet members. Thank you. In this item, the district recommends approval of the resolution authorizing reduction and or elimination of classified and classified management services for the 2024 to 25 school year. This is an annual process and an item brought forward to the board each year as the district analyzes its operational needs in terms of levels of service, classified and classified management service and funding. The classified reduction elimination, otherwise known as layoff process, is governed by Education Code and Article 9 of the CSEA bargaining unit contract, as well as timelines implemented last year, Assembly Bill 438, which aligned the classified layoff process with the certificated process and timelines, which brings us to the March meeting. The education codes provide the authority of the board for the resolution. It defines the basis for reductions and eliminations due to either lack of work or lack of funds, and establishes the placement of affected employees on a reemployment list. The CSEA contract further articulates the process, including the engagement that we have with CSEA throughout the process, and timelines of notification of to employees, and the procedures for seniority and bumping rights. The layout process began in January with reviews of categorical funding. The district has engaged with CSEA leadership on numerous occasions to keep them apprised of the proposed layoffs and the positions that are affected. On February 1st, 2024, district staff met with CSEA to present and review the proposed layoff list, explain each one, and answer questions. And then on February 9th, 2024, we met again as a classified layoff committee to review adjustments to the list and vote on the recommendation of the final proposed layoff list, which brings us to what's presented for the board here. For the record, the district portion of the committee voted in favor of that recommendation going forward, and the CSEA members voted against it going forward. As you can imagine, makes sense in them representing the members. Allow me to give a brief breakdown of some of the groupings of positions on the proposed layoff list in order to provide some perspective regarding the action the board's taking with approval of the resolution. At the outset, there are 148 classified and 1 classified management positions on the layoff list or reduction list. 120 or 81% of those positions are vacant, with a portion being the elimination of obsolete positions and job descriptions due to the reclassification into new positions and job descriptions and titles. That process happens with the Modesto City Schools and CSEA Reclassification Committee. So we bring a position, change the job responsibilities, or do an equity adjustment and change to a different position. So we're getting rid of the obsolete position because we've created a new one. The 1 classified management position on the list is also vacant. That was retirement that is now being restructured into a management structure with the warehouse and reprographics because reprographics post-COVID is a little different in terms of volume these days. 99 positions on the list, that's 67% of all positions on the list, or 83% of the vacant positions are due to the reclassification process. As I mentioned, that's because we created new job titles and descriptions, and the employees continued in the newly titled positions. We're bringing forward the elimination of the obsolete positions. 22 positions are on the list for reasons such as lack of work based on analysis of operational needs of the district and 14 of the 22 positions are vacant. No employees in them. To give you some examples, 2 vacant positions were reassigned to other positions within the CSEA bargaining unit within the technology department. We changed to computer tech 2 positions. One was a application specialist because they said the need was in a different area within technology, still classified. 2 vacant positions of school bus instructor dispatcher are being restructured into the school bus driver / delegated trainer positions so that we can have different functions still within the classified unit. 2 vacant positions are 4-hour office clerk positions that are being eliminated due to the addition of a full-time school secretary position at our junior high school. So we had a 4-hour office clerk, but we, as a district, said there needs to be a full-time secretary at the junior highs like there is at the high school. So this is eliminating the 4-hour office clerk positions. 27 positions are on the list due to lack of funds, and of those, 7 are vacant. Positions due to changes in the use of categorical funding as determined by the school site councils at those school sites. They go to their school site council and determine the money they have and how they want to reallocate that. And they said, maybe we don't want to fund this anymore, or the need isn't there, we're going to change the funding here. Positions being reduced or eliminated due to the pending expiration of ESSER funding. We had ESSER funding for things like health clerks during COVID that are not handling the volume of COVID restrictions any longer, or even added yard duties with some of these temporary funds. Positions that are enrollment driven at sites where enrollment has decreased, requiring an adjustment to their staffing allocation. And another example, 4 positions on the list are due to the increase in classified support for kinder classes, which is part of the MOU we did with MTA. So when we increase the classified support for full-time kinder or TK or kinder and K1 combo classes, and said they were 5-hour paraprofessionals support those, we increased it to 6. Well, we previously had some 5-hour paras who took 3-hour after-school paraprofessional positions. So that's 8 hours total. But when we increased the 5 to 6 hours, you can't have a 9-hour position. So we're reducing those to be a full 8-hour assignment now. Home stretch, sorry. Of the 148 total positions, 28 are currently filled by employees. For employees displaced as part of the layoff resolution, we're going to review each employee situation to determine if employees have bumping rights into other positions. We'll engage with CSEA in those meetings and describe the process going through. We have held some positions vacant that are vacant instead of filling them in anticipation of the need to find some placements for employees who potentially will be displaced by these decisions. That may end up being a lower range position or fewer hours, but it's continued employment, which is our goal, whenever we can. We do exhaust all the efforts possible to maintain employment for our employees who are displaced. It is important to note that the employee who's in the position currently may not be the employee ultimately who is displaced by a layoff once we get through the bumping rights process. So there's a whole process that we have to follow still, carrying through to when this layoff, assuming the approval of the resolution is effectuated, it would be finalized and take place at the end of June. In typical years, very few people are formally laid off at the end of the process after all these efforts are exhausted. But board action is needed at this time in order for the district to meet its statutory timelines and proceed with the reduction and elimination process. So with that, it's recommended that the board approve the resolution 23/24-25 authorizing reduction and or elimination of classified management services for the 24-25 school year.
Okay, are there any comments from the public? Seeing none. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Vice President Maestas.
Thanks. It's mostly a clarification. My dad was a CSEA lifelong member, bus driver for Delano Union School District. Not that matters much, but you know, I think of my dad when these things happen. I just want some clarification. The state, when did the state, because I believe the state changed the rule for districts. Like, like, we can't kick the can down the road because the state says, you have until this day to make this decision, and you can't wait any longer. Is that right? And
That
what
was-
is that date?
That was Assembly Bill 438, first went into effect last year. We didn't have many layoff employees affected. It, you know, we found locations for everyone, so, but that was the first time it aligned the classified layoff process, which in the past went into April and May through a series of, it was a 60-day meeting and process to align it to the certificated layoff date of March 15th. And with our board meeting being March 4th, it's the action that has to be taken for this resolution as of that date prior to March 15th that then allows us to proceed with the rest of the steps in the process. So that was for whatever legislative reason, moved the classified to align it to certificated.
Right, but before that, we were able to look for more spots and do all that before we had to make a decision like this.
I think it moves it earlier, which is challenging because we're starting those conversations in January and managers, everybody has to look at their funding and turn those decisions around quickly. It did give us more time before we had to begin to this level, this step, but it was, I think, the April or May board meeting, we did have to bring it to the board for the resolution, and then we still followed after the approval of the resolution, those additional steps to engage each affected employee and determine what their previous employment was in the district, their rights, and so on.
Okay, so barring approval of this resolution, we have basically about 3 months now to do all the shuffling that you can to find positions and places for our people.
That's correct.
Okay. How many of these jobs are directly related to the COVID funds that we have to make decisions on coming in the next, this year and next year?
I don't have the number. I can count them up, but there's let's see, a half dozen, maybe 14-ish around that area that I'm looking at just off the sheet in terms of what funding's identified. It could be a few more, but the ones that are ESSER dollars specifically.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Trustee Brown.
Want to speak with the voice of experience here, and this is something that has come up every year that I've served on a board, which is now over 20 years. Timing is different this year than it has been in the past, but this is something that we always deal with, is these necessary notices of possible layoffs. And I just want the public to know that this is not an easy matter for us to look at as a board. We do see people, not positions, and we realize what effect this has on individuals within our MCS family. So this is not an easy decision to make. It's a decision that's forced on us by the state calendar, and I want to commend our HR department for the diligence that goes into trying to make sure that we can keep our MCS family members employed and able to continue working with us. Over these many years that I've served, it's been the rare year where we've had to actually lay someone off. The way things are happening with these ESSER funds, it feels like we're approaching a period of time where we may have to actually go through with that process, and that is painful. That's not a position, that's a person. And if we are forced into that decision, it's with extreme compassion. And it's with the knowledge that everything has been done to see if we can't do something else. So I just want to share that feeling from my heart that this is not an easy decision. It's not the decision that our CSEA leadership wants to hear that we are forced to make. And it's not a statement against our union. It's not a statement against any individuals. It's basically a statement against our our state for forcing us to make this decision right now when we're still working on trying to find the solutions. So, thank you.
And Trustee Lopez.
Yes, definitely not an easy decision, and as mentioned, we see people over positions, but I would like for us to to have some report back maybe in May or June around this, and kind of help us illustrate what we've done between now and then to really keep as many of our employees with us. And then what was the end result? I mean, like as mentioned before, it's unfortunate that we have to abide by these laws that start this process a lot faster, but I hear that there's wiggle room to really try to save as many of our staff here with us. And so I would like to have a report back on that, because it's the, we want to show that our commitment to keeping these positions or keeping our employees with us, even despite of this.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Student Rep. Akwayi.
Thank you. I had a question. I think you mentioned about moving employees. For example, if somebody's position, they had to be moved from a position, moving them into another position within a similar classification. I was wondering, are sort of the benefits, or like both like salary benefits and employee benefits, going to also be compensated in a similar way if they have to be moved into a different position?
It's a great question. I'm looking at some of the positions on the list, for example, say instructional paraprofessionals. We know that we have quite a demand for instructional paraprofessionals. So although that particular grouping based on the funding source or what this function was in that setting may be going away, I have a high level of confidence we can find similar paraprofessional positions for those people at the same level of hours and compensation and benefits. The others depend on the position itself. Sometimes we have very specialized position where there are very few of them. But throughout the layoff process, the next step is to determine what position within the district somebody had previously, and that gives them certain rights to positions. I mean, not whether it's the one they have now or the one they previously held. And there's a complicated series of potential dominoes of displacement that has to be researched. We try to find a position to have a landing spot for each individual that is close to the current classification, salary, wages as much as possible. Through the course of that bumping process, there could be the eventuality that someone, this was their first position within the district, they don't have any bumping rights, and potentially it could be a layoff. And somebody goes onto a layoff list. If there's a position that comes back at a later time for which they're qualified and they have rights at that point based on the one they held, then we would potentially bring them back into that position. So that was a long-winded answer to your short question.
It's okay. I actually have another question on that note. If in the case that an employee does end up being laid off, I was wondering if you're able to detail sort of the steps that the district would take to support them in that, if they're not able to continue a job within the district.
Yes, and we do try to exhaust all the efforts before that happens and try and find positions. But if they don't qualify for another position or have rights to another position, they would go on to a 39-month layoff list, and we would keep that in the queue that if another position became vacant in that classification for which they were qualified but they were displaced due to layoff, they would have the opportunity to be re-employed. If not, then employees in the meantime would be potentially seeking apply for unemployment benefits, or maybe even pursue another position within the district where there is a different need. They might, for example, have been eyeing a higher level position that there might be vacancies advertised for and potentially apply for and get something like that. So we could facilitate educating them about potential openings, but we wouldn't necessarily place someone in a higher position than what they were displaced due to reduction.
Yes, I have a comment and question. I'm going back to 2012, when I was in this position. And as Trustee Brown mentioned, having the compassion behind the process, which in my opinion, back then, I didn't feel it was there, because that's monumental in terms of mental and emotional, when you're a provider of your family and you have been notified you're going to be laid off. And so, there was nothing set up, or services or anything that helps you deal with that. It's just like, here it is. It's done. You're done, and you're like, whoa. When you've never ever been in that position ever in your life, in your working life, to have to go through something like that, as I'm going to say, traumatic. It is. That's what it is. It's traumatic. And so, back to that point, ensuring that, if they were a part of that family, we don't treat them like they're the redheaded stepchild when it comes time to lay them off, that we do have some sense of compassion for them. I still keep my EDD debit card when I had to do unemployment, because I had never taken a dime of unemployment in my working life. But I still have that, I still have it, because it reminds me, the humanity and the humility that, I had to endure, or lack thereof, because of the situation. And so I wanted to know if there is a way to have an early warning sign, because if you said, we've been going through this in January, could there be an early warning? Hey, you might want to look at other opportunities and things like that, because this is looking like we're going to get to this point. I know it's different because I was classified management, but there should be some opportunity to be able to, I'm not going to say forewarn, well, it is forewarn folks that could be on, could become a decision that's made. Because I think that would have went a long way in helping people find other opportunities that were, available out there, rather than waiting until March and then starting the process. So, and I'm just using that from personal experience, because I've been there. I'm going through. I went through what some of our employees may endure, and hopefully we can stave that off as a district and a board, to place as many people as we can with positions that continues to allow them to earn a living wage, to be able to support their families during a difficult time. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
With that being said, that brings us to there was no more comments from the board?
We need a vote on the
Yes,
resolution?
that's what I'm saying, no more comments from the board.
Moving on.
I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 23/2425, authorizing the reduction or elimination of classified and classified management services for the 2024-2025 school year.
I will reluctantly make that motion.
It's been moved by Trustee Brown. Second. Second by Trustee Mejia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? And so the motion carries. But let's put our hats together, district, to try to, move this in a position that we support our MCS families down the road. Thank you. G7, items to be placed on future Board of Education agendas. Does anyone have any items to be placed on future board agendas? Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting. Been moved by, properly by trustee Mejia. Second? Second by trustee Daly. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned.